Hello, 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 everyone. Mike Reynolds here, co-founder, Path Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. How is everyone doing this morning? It's so far very quiet overnight trading. Not much going on yet. Couple things we'll take a look at just to still prepare. Maybe it'll just be a calm day. No storm. No storm. Who knows? Good morning, Jacob. Storm, we're going to need a bigger boat. W Browser, welcome. Amit Comet. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Davey. Good morning, Josh. I'll get the buckets out to shovel the water off the boat. Well, hopefully we won't take on water today. Good morning, Christoph. Good morning, Sterling. Morning, Genomic Stock. Well, I'm still having trouble. I haven't had any coffee yet this morning. This is just gonna be a banner podcast. It's not even a podcast. It's a live stream. What am I doing? See? And forgive me for my errors. But still consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like button. Longer term viewers, please do like and comment on the videos. Hey, Remsifal, how are you today? So we're still people are still tuning in on this Friday morning. Low volatility so far. We only have the S&P PMI flash coming out, manufacturing flash and services flash, all the flashes coming out in about 40 minutes. So take note of that. And then we have the Baker Hughes rig count. So that'll be interesting to see if that keeps going up. So keep an eye on that for oil. If you do trade oil, FOMC is pretty much fully priced in on that 50 basis point. And it looks like now they're projecting looking at some other stuff, 50 basis points in May, June. The May, June, July, and September meetings could all be 50 basis points. And then November, December, still 25. So we'll keep an eye on that to see whether it goes up or down. Verizon had earnings this morning. I know they were down on earnings. That was the one thing I was peeking at so far. Let's see. Morning, Ted. Good morning, Wavy. Let's see what else we have here. So you see here's today right here so far on the daily chart. Not much going on. Very low range today. So if I pull back on everything else, we can zoom in and show you what I'm watching off the open. So this still does qualify as a little potential double bottom on a break above 43.93.25. And I have the retracement harmonics pretty much from yesterday's sell-off up here. 44.05 stop production, 44.11 first target, 44.17 second target, 37.5% retracement, and the 1 hour 50. So that is a very key level on an upside breakout. Sort of, it's almost turning also into a mini flag pattern. You can see here. So be keeping an eye on that for the breakdown. The breakdown play for me is below 43.68 area. That's this little support ledge and this little spike low. Then it would just be a retest of the lows. Below the lows, we don't have much going on. You can see here, we have a little at 43.55. And then this is where it gets interesting. And then you're coming down here. There's no clear path here. Next little minor stopping area is right around about 43.39, and then we don't have anything down until 43.21 to 43.16. Remember, 62.5 is the key level, especially on a closing basis. So there's not much support if we start breaking not only yesterday's low, but then the low from the 14th. The low from the 17th. So then I will get really short-term bearish once that happens. But I gave you the bullish case too, so it's pretty much just trade off the open. If we look at the bigger picture, just to keep that in mind, the bigger picture here, moving on down, this is now a triple bottom territory on the daily, which only slightly favors a continuation pattern. And on the 4-hour, you see running up here, and even if we do run up here, it's into the 4-hour rotation zone that's separating now. So I will then start watching for the next push lower. What else? Cycles rolled over yesterday, but still pretty much in neutral territory. I don't know what the official definition on it is. There is one. I just don't know what it is. Maybe something somebody can put that in here. I do not know off the top of my head what considers hyperinflation. Let's see. Nasdaq. This is not a double, does not qualify. So I was just using the harmonics. We already came up and spiked. You can see here. Let me move this out of the way real quick. You can see that was the harmonic level right here, and then it turned into a cluster with the retracements, and we just bounced off of that a little bit ago. If it pushes higher, we can now bump this up because there is no double, so we can't use those. My next, if we do break to the upside, 13.815 to 13.823 is my first target I will be using. Then I will going to 13.862. Also starting to look right now like a little channel flag pattern. So we break back down. First warning sign, you get down about 13.665. Then see, and we're already below those lows back on the 17th. So you really break down below yesterday's low, which would be my first target if we do break down from this little flag pattern, 13.614. And then my next major cluster is 13.538 to 13.525. Remember, we did close on that daily basis. We did close back below the 62.5, which is buried in here somewhere. So that is, we still are longer term bearish, even with a pop. You see here separating rotation zone. So on any rally into the daily rotation zone would be a rollover play. Any rally into 4-hour rotation zone would be a rollover play also. If you did have the major sell off, the next key area is 13,350 right in here. Dow is almost turning. This is getting a very sloppy, almost into a triple bottom. I'll still watch if we get above 34,719, 34,817 to about 34,860, then 34,915. However, you see here that's right against the first cross of rotation zone. This is also slightly looking like it's going to break down. We're really looking like these could start breaking lower, especially if the Dow heads down first. So it's almost turning into a triple. So take these targets with a grain of salt. They might be invalidated really shortly. To the downside, then we'll have to use some harmonics. So we break lower. We're into this single candle clear path move, which then favors a full target down here. Right about 34,333. So intermediate would be 34,412. Then I'd be watching 34,301 to 34,333. And then below that would be 34,195 and then 34,88. Again, this is slow right now. Russell also coming down from the 1-hour rotation zone, also looking weak going into the open. So stuff's starting to really weaken down. Russell sitting right at this key support, but if we break this 1980, 1979 area, there's not a lot of great support until 1941. So that's what I'm really watching. And to the upside, if we did rally, would be back to 2004. DAX down already 164 basis points, holding right here. I literally have nothing going on right now in the DAX based off of today besides a potential rollover play on the short term. So you have prior support, now resistance. So if the markets roll over, watching for a lower price action. Other than that, there's no great setups in the DAX. Crude, nothing much going on. Again, it's very quiet right now. Crude, there, I don't have any great setups either in here unless we start breaking below about 100. Then a break below 100, we could easily return to about 97.50 pretty quickly. Gold pulling back at this key support. This is one area I like to look to add, and then the next area would be about 1915, and then again, this is trading around a core position, and then up on a pop back to 1965, take something off, 1987, take something off. Just a little tip. Can't give you trading advice. That's just giving you an idea of how it could be traded around the core position. Silver rolling back down. This is again, this right around this 24.10 is a buy entry, and then the next buy entry is about 23.42. Take something off about 24.93 and then 25.34. Notes, we had that potential double, which never even got close to triggering. Coming back down, there's a lot of little support in here. Watching for, again, that potential bottoming pattern. We're getting divergences set up on the daily. That cycle divergences also. So going to watch for a potential pop in the notes. Again, we don't have any great pattern besides a play of about 118.27 into this clear path is the only thing I'm really watching for on the bullish case. Other than that, there's no real bearish case either because of this waning momentum, and there's not a good bearish setup at this location. So if nothing goes on the bullish side, it's sit on hands. Dollar index moving back up, potential double top now. We will keep an eye on that. Again, just because you have a potential does not mean it's a tradable event until it triggers. So the trigger would be below 99.81. So you can also watch in the Euro US dollar. You can see there's not a great setup here with this. But if we do get back above about 109, 108, 91, 109, you're going into this little clear path, and you've broken a very significant resistance area. So I will be keeping an eye on that too. VIX, we still have this potential double. This is one side. This is the other side. You can see it probably a little clearer on that weekly. But I will be watching if that we get above 25.38. What else? Tesla. Pretty much flat on the opening. It was up a little earlier. Flat on the opening, but remember these from yesterday. We got that close below the 62.5, so I'm still favoring the gap fill. That's where probabilities still favor. So that's the only thing I'm really watching off the open here. Let's see. Mike, is the cycle count for the rally off the table if we break lower today? If we break, well, the Nasdaq's already favors lower price action just because of where it closed yesterday. S&P, yeah, we're looking like we're rolling down lower. So if it doesn't break today, I'll still be in bearish mode at the beginning of next week with this rollover and not being able to sustain any rally. Remember, we could barely get any bounce in here, and then we got that major sell-off yesterday. So I'm focused mostly on the short side. Any long plays would just be temporary, real quick intraday plays, and then going back for bigger short setups. Am I still out of focus? Jeez. I got to reboot all this stuff. Let's see. Manual focus. There we go. We'll just do it that way. It should be on autofocus, but thank you for letting me know, Davey. Well, price inflation is a major measure of the pace of rising prices for goods and services. Hyperinflation is rapidly rising inflation, typically measuring more than 50% per month. Thank you, Jacob. So there's roughly your line in the sand, 50% a month. We're not there yet. I would hate to see that. So yes, it's thanking you too. Thanks again for putting that in. Hey, Lauren, let's see. Reality is they've taken out certain items in today's CPI measurement compared to CPI data from the 80s, which we're already at 10 to 12. Yeah, if you look at like shadow stats, it does those calculations still from based off where we are. We're still at much higher inflation. Snap manipulation. What do you mean snap manipulation? Snap earnings yesterday, is it back to being flat? Snap manipulation. Look, it still favors a retest of this low area. So watch, I'd be focusing on the breakdown play in Snap. What did it end up doing? Let's just peek at that overnight data. I didn't peek at it. I mean, it was just back and forth all over the place. And now, well, I mean, it favors the breakdown play. So statistically, so I would not be very bullish on Snap personally. Let's see, nice pullback in Uranium yesterday. Let's take a look. Which do you want? You want Sprott? I wish this would get listed here. Really, Uranium. Again, we are long Uranium. Bounced it off the 37.5. I mean, these, if you're trading around core positions, I'll go over that in the URA, but I like to use the harmonics. So this was an add yesterday. This is a remove. This is a remove. And if it breaks above 20 again, then it's a hold for higher prices. But my next ad would be in the Sprott Physical 1640 in URA. Again, big reversal here. This is, again, why I like to trade around the core position. Depending on where it's long, unwinding some up here. This is an ad. Next ad area is about 24.43, and then it's a pause all the way back down to about 22.63 is a major ad area. Takeaway pops for me, 26.83 is remove something. And then back to about 28 is remove again. And if we break above about 28.50, it's hold with the remaining position for much higher prices. So yeah, that's how exactly what I'm doing with the same thing as I do with gold and silver, these plays, because it's still in this bigger consolidation. That's why they are ads on the pullbacks and then unwind on the rallies and just harvesting the price action. And with keeping a core position for the eventual break, and then it's really getting aggressive with it. What are your lower levels for Nvidia? Nvidia, keep in mind we closed below the 62.5 from this run up from the March 21 lows, so that favors a return to much lower prices. Short term, your short-term levels. $189, the next major cluster to 75% harmonic with this projection would be 171 through 173. Those are your major levels. Your minor levels would be roughly 196.13, then you have the 189 through 185 area. So those would be your, if you want a minor level, would be 196.13, so roughly 196. Again, longer term, this is that was your daily close below here. Any rallies, even now, this key support, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really bottoms in that area, broke yesterday. So this is now resistance on any rally, and especially with the daily declining rotation zone. So there again, rallies for me in Nvidia are to be sold or set up for short plays. Quickie targets on QQQ. Then we'll get wrapping this up. Again, we closed on this below the 62.5 yesterday. My targets at downside are still in place. 331, then 326.79. Those are my targets at downside. To the upside, if you need something to the upside, it's going to be just based off the open. But if we return to anything, I'd be watching about 337.85 with the 1 hour rotation zone on any play. Then the next level I'd use up is around 340. So those are my upside and downside targets. Again, look, if we're breaking down, I'd really start focusing on this 331.30 area. You have a cluster right there. So, is there a double bottom on the Nvidia 5-minute chart? Oh boy. 5 minute? Yeah. That technically qualifies. Let's see. Hold on. I got to do the measurement out though. Let's see, because this, I'd really be using that move. Yeah, it qualifies your level. Again, it's not in play until above 204.55. Then you have first target 206.50 and second target 205.55. Final target I'd take with a grain of salt being above this prior peak at 208.55. So I'd use these first two targets if it does trigger. This could come back down on the open and really turn into a triple bottom though. So keep that in mind. That's just a very short play. I normally don't list stuff out like that. With that, thank you everyone for being here. There we go. And I'll do a quick wrap-up session for anybody interested after the close today. And then we'll do our normal Sunday afternoon session. And I will put out the sector overview also this weekend. So, thank you for being here, and I will talk to everyone later. You are welcome, Options 22. Have a great day trading. Remember, if there's nothing going on, if there's nothing to do, you can always sit on your hands. Don't force anything, especially on a Friday. You're welcome, Ramsafal. You're welcome, Amit. Please let us know when the course is being released. I'm sure I will do that. You will hear about it. Thanks, Jacob. Thanks, Michael.